On today's show, training camps have opened across the National Hockey League. We'll get into the biggest stories, including some injury updates and a pair of young stars who don't have contracts and therefore will not be at training camp.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome inside this Wednesday, September 17th edition of the Locked On NHL podcast. I'm Ross Levitan. You can find me 5 days a week over at Locked On Ottawa Senators. And as always, it's a Battle of Ontario edition. I'm joined by Mike DiStefano from Locked On Maple Leafs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel to get started. It's like Christmas morning. You open up your presents. You're all excited. The National Hockey League is back. The only problem, Mikey, is inside ththese presents, it feels like our injury updates all over the place. Lots of big names are going to miss the start of the season.
Yeah, I know. And I like, is it typically like this? I feel like there's been far more names that have been out there for like who won't be at the start of camp or who are going to be missing the first couple of months. It feels as though there's far more injuries to start this season than typical. Am I wrong? Or does it feel like this is kind of, I don't know. Is it just because we don't follow it as much, track it as much? I got to remember this long of a list of major injuries to start training camps.
Yeah, and some of them we knew, like Adam Lowry had surgery on his hip after last season. The Jets captain's going to miss the start of the year. We knew Matthew Tkachuk, who grinded through another Stanley Cup run through the playoffs. We knew he was going to be out to start the season, but I didn't realize David Pastrnak was going to miss the start of training camp, and there's more beyond that, like Nick Paul with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's going to be out months, just had surgery. And we knew that last week, Corey Perry, while he was in captain skates with the LA Kings, he suffered an injury. He needs surgery. He's going to be out for a little while. So there's top to bottom going to be a lot. And hey, if you're a fringe player, you never want to see injuries, but there could be some jobs opening up for guys who can really make an impact in this shortened preseason.
Oh yeah. There'll be some opportunities around the league that'll become available due to injury. It always ends up being the case. I'm just reading Mackenzie Blackwood also dealing with an off-season injury is considered week to week. They're hopeful that he'll be ready for the season opener on October 9th, but unknown as of now. And I guess Logan O'Connor had off-season hip surgery and won't return until early November. So even Colorado missing a couple of guys out there. Simon Edvinson won't play at all in the preseason for the Detroit Red Wings. So it's a long list of injuries. Leon O'Brien, I'm seeing also missing the start of the training camp. Big Tuna, that's right. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Jordan Greenway, both to miss the start of camp. There's a bit of a list there. Zach Hyman, obviously, as well, with the injury that he had, I believe, is missing the start of training camp. Hoping to be back relatively soon. So, yeah, there's a lot of injuries, but that does mean that there are a lot of opportunities for others around the NHL. And that's what training camp's all about, man. You know, it's a clean slate. If last year didn't go quite your way, this is another season to prove your worth to the team. And, you know, if you get off to a good start in camp, you know, you can put your best foot forward. And with injuries, that means that there's more opportunity for you to try and earn a job in the NHL.
Yeah, and Ottawa's in that spot too. Nick Jensen had off-season hip surgery. He's missing the start of the season. In all likelihood, they've been kind of, he's ahead of schedule all the time. But 7th overall pick, Carter Yakimchuk, now doors starting to open. Hey, even if it's just to start the season and then move down. But there are plenty of intriguing storylines as training camps open. A lot of the teams are doing their media, their physicals, their medicals today, and on ice will start tomorrow. So we'll have a better idea of what coaches are thinking with how they're going to organize 50 plus players at most of these training camps and only 6 preseason games. Only, I say. I think they could probably still cut that down, but it's down 2 games from previous seasons where there's been 8.
Well, they are cutting it down. This will be the last year that we see this many, right? New CBA is coming in. I believe it's going down to This is going down to 3-4
4
games.
Okay, great. 4 would be the perfect number because then the vets play 2, and then players who are trying to make the team still have enough leeway where it's like, hey, you earned another game. You earned another game. Plus, we know there's the Kraft Hockeyville. We know there's neutral site games. Ottawa's going up to Quebec City for a pair of games. So that's still important in terms of growing the game. And you don't always want, well, I don't think you ever want, but some might argue that you don't want to take home games away from that respective market mid-season. So this is an opportunity for the Quebec City fan base to say, hey, I know you guys are going big American markets. People are talking Atlanta, Houston as potential expansion. We're still here. We still love. We still have an 18,000 seat arena. We can fill that thing for preseason hockey. They did a great job. Was it last year where Patrice Bergeron dropped the puck for, I think the Bruins and the Kings were there? It might have been 2 years ago, but there's a huge appetite for it in there. So this is just another opportunity that those cities get to host preseason games. I don't know where's Kraft Hockeyville this year.
It's a good question. I'm not sure.
St. Boniface.
Oh, there you go.
Quebec. There's
So
St. Boniface in Winnipeg. I was like, there's no way.
Probably have another little Montreal game there, I would assume then.
I can tell you, no, this is just the article saying which team won it. So yeah, I would imagine that it is the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
But they're also in the Quebec City thing. Ottawa's playing New Jersey and Montreal in Quebec City. So yeah, we'll see what comes of that. But I do know that that this is where the conversation turns from off-season, who's better than who, lists, projections, to, hey, go out there and prove what you're worth, and you can go ahead and make this team. What's the biggest storyline for the Toronto Maple Leafs going to training camp?
Well, the biggest storyline I think for the Leafs is who are they gonna put next to Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes, right? That spot that's been vacated now by Mitch Marner. Who's gonna fill that role? And it's not that one guy specifically is gonna come in and play the Mitch Marner role, but who gets the opportunity first? Now, Craig Berube has talked a lot about how he doesn't necessarily believe in lines; it's more pairs, and then guys will kind of filter in and out. So I'm curious to see who gets the first rep tomorrow on the ice with Matthews and Nyes as the top line right winger. I would say that competition is probably the biggest competition that's out there. Other than that, they're bringing back a lot of the same bunch, same decor, same goaltenders. Maybe Anthony Stolar's contract extension is the other thing that is kind of percolating, and how that could possibly, if they can get that across the finish line before the start of the regular season. But those are really the two things that I think most people are looking at. That and can Easton Cowan push similar to the Akimchuk? Can Cowan push for a spot on the roster this year? He's done with junior, so he can go down to the American League. But can he push and make a spot for himself with the Leafs? That's another thing that we're keeping an eye on.
Nice. Yeah, with Ottawa, it's the same thing. Top line right wing, because they bring back Claude Giroux, but at a very discounted rate from what he was making last year. So it's like, is he still the fit with Stützle and Tkachuk? And is Fabian Zetterlund going to be the guy? I know they spoke yesterday on Locked On NHL about the Senators, and I agree with JD and Seth. They both just said kind of internal growth is what needs to happen for the Senators to continue taking steps in the right direction. Tim Stützle needs to shoot the puck more, but does he also need a shooter on his wing? Is that where Fabian Zetterlund's going to come in? So yeah, this is the time to put on our hats here and see how the cookie comes together in the oven. Does it rise just right? Do you burn it like I burnt the pan of muffins yesterday? This is going to be a lot of fun. And Mikey, not to look too far ahead, but the first preseason game, Sens Leafs on Sunday afternoon. Looking forward to that as well. So and then the real thing starts October 7th. And people who listen every Wednesday know that we do not like the opening night schedule, but it does mean that hockey will be all the way back. So we talked about who won't be there, but who could change locations after this year. Connor McDavid had an interview with 32 Thoughts with Elliot Friedman and Kyle Bukauskas, and I saw some Oilers fans saying, I wasn't worried until now. We'll tell you why next. You're listening to Locked On NHL, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's their 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. If you have subscriptions, you maybe forgot you're paying for some. You can link your accounts, immediately spot those, and cancel them. They'll save you money every month. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. Welcome back, Locked On NHL, your team every day. And man, this is going to be something to watch. Both storylines. We talked also a couple weeks ago about Kirill Kaprizov, and I know Seth Dupal at Locked On Wild is like, oh boy, they need him. They finally got out of cap purgatory where it was just trying to find a way around the buyouts of Suter and Parise. But if he's turning down $128 million, you got to start thinking, could Kirill the Thrill be on his way out of Minnesota? But up in Canada, you got to keep the best player in the league happy. And now back-to-back Stanley Cup final losses for the Edmonton Oilers, and Connor McDavid is non-committal.
Yeah, that's not great if you're an Oiler fan. And I always thought that the temperature would turn up. Like, it was pretty, warm all summer with McDavid not signing. And then when they got to the Canadian orientation camp and there was no extension announcement, they got through the first week of September, no extension announcement. And I thought, if they show up to camp and there's nothing signed, sealed, and delivered, no announcement on the morning of Edmonton Oilers training camp, this thing is getting turned up to a whole other level. And that's exactly what happened this morning. No contract in place for Connor McDavid to begin his final season in Edmonton. And then a bombshell podcast gets dropped by Elliot Friedman, 32 Thoughts bonus pod, they called it, with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And there were some comments that were made in that podcast that make you question McDavid's future in Edmonton. He says he's all in on this year, believes in the team this year, but after that, quote, remains to be seen.
Do you think this is him just saying, hey, Stan, can I please have a goalie?
I mean, yeah, they probably is asking for a goalie, probably asking for some more depth, I would think. It's interesting. I don't like their offseason. I don't think they're a better team than they were a year ago. They're a different team. They added some more youth, I guess, and speed. Like, they obviously let Corey Perry walk out the door. They let Jeff Skinner walk out the door. A couple other Evander Kane they traded away. So they got rid of some veteran pieces and brought in some younger guys, maybe some guys who got a little bit more foot speed. But I'm not sure that they're better. And that would worry me if I'm Oilers fans, because Connor said at the end of his press conference last year, if he feels the team is in a good place, he won't mind signing long-term if he feels the team can win. Well, he hasn't signed yet. So to me, that screams, I'm not sure that this team is going in the right direction or has the answers to get there.
The one quote that stands out, he was asked what he wants to see from the Oilers to make him commit long-term, and he said, nothing, it's going to be a feeling. So that's not what you want to hear.
What does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? It'll be a feeling. He'll just feel like, all right, this feels different. This feels different. Is that what he needs? Man's gone to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. It's not like the team's an absolute tire fire. How are you going to feel the difference between winning and losing a Game 7? How are you going to feel that?
Yeah, maybe he's going to play the whole year out. What happens if we get to
no shot
after the Olympics?
No shot they trade him. I think there's a 0% chance they trade him. 0% chance. The only trade I could see is a sign and trade at the end of the year, like Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
I think the sign and trade could get it done,
You
potentially.
think Oilers fans would be happy with a Nicolas Waugh type for Connor McDavid?
Better than nothing. I mean, it's better than nothing, I will say, but I think it'll be a far greater package than Nicolas Waugh.
Yeah, no disrespect to Nicolas Waugh. He's a perfectly fine player, but Connor McDavid has to. I think he has to decide by Christmas. Like, I think he can't go through.
He doesn't have a contract extension by trade deadline, which I think is March 3rd or March 8th or something like that.
Yeah,
early March,
first Friday of March.
Yeah, if he doesn't have a contract in place, you believe that they'll trade him?
No, I mean, it would have to be like he would only get traded somewhere where he has the decisive decision to sign.
Sure. But like, then why does that Christmas deadline mean anything?
I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to sympathize with Oilers fans because every day is probably like walking on a plane. Just getting closer.
Fans there all last year with Mitch Marner. I mean, it's hockey.
This is a different level, though.
It's part of the business
level.
I mean, we're there with Matthews a couple years ago, Nylander. I mean, every year, the Leafs have had a star player, go deep into the offseason, go into the season. Like Matthews signed late into the offseason, signed in like August. Nylander signed in the middle of the season, so went halfway through and then finally signed. And then Marner eventually pulled the chute and he decided he wasn't going to sign. So Leafs have been through it 3 years in a row and have had three different outcomes, I suppose, and finally did lose one of their stars. They decided to up and walk. So teams go through this, and I know I'm only using the Maple Leafs. It's a team that I cover, but you can go around the league. Lots of teams, go through situations like this. Colorado went through it last year. And they decided to trade Mikko Rantanen because he wasn't willing to sign an extension. And Carolina got him. And they realized, he doesn't want to sign here either. Well, let's trade him again. So, this happens all around the league. Obviously, I get it. It's different because it's Connor McDavid, the best player on the planet. But hey,
it's different for another reason too. Edmonton used to be on every team's no trade list.
Yeah. No one wanted
Connor McDavid single-handedly changed that.
Yeah. I mean, Leon's still there, so it's not like it's going to be a complete bum team. Leon is probably the second best player on the planet. So you still have that. I mean, there's still a chance that he goes back to Edmonton. Like it's not completely dead in the water here. I think it's more likely than unlikely he signs in Edmonton. Or like, don't you believe that?
Or we can't have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's prime have a goalie with an .896 save percentage play 50 games.
Well, I agree with you.
Can't do it.
I agree with you. I think they do need to make a change at some point. I'm still not sure how they didn't end up outbidding Detroit for John Gibson.
Exactly where my head was at.
I'm not sure how that happened. Like, is there? The problem is there's not a whole lot goaltending wise. Now, an interesting move that happened a couple days ago. The Columbus Blue Jackets made a little trade. Do you recall what the trade was?
Yes, I do. The Blue Jackets recent trade.
Yeah,
Ivan Fedotov.
That's correct. They brought in Ivan Fedotov, goaltender from the Philadelphia Flyers for a 6th-round pick. They currently have Jet Greaves on their roster, and they have Elvis Merzlikins on their roster. So did they make that trade, bringing in an extra goaltender in preparation of moving one of those two?
I don't know if either of those guys.
In the future?
Honestly, I don't think either one moves the needle that much. No.
Oh,
I know Jack Greaves was unreal. I think it'd be wild if Columbus was moving on from Jack Greaves, but
no, I think Merzlikins is the guy who I think they move on.
Oh boy, I don't know how much of an upgrade that is.
You know what though? Like 3 years ago, Merzlikins was one of the best goalies in the world, and he's had a tough couple of years after the passing of his friend. Sorry, not in the world. I shouldn't say that. But when he first came up, he was unbelievable. Merzlikins.
His rookie year, he was very good.
Pre-COVID, Merzlikins was unbelievable.
COVID was a long time ago.
No, I get that. But I think that he just needs a change of scenery.
Yeah, maybe.
Like the goalie is still in there. The great goaltending is still in there. I think a change of scenery would do him really, really good. So if there was a goaltender around the NHL that is tradable and makes sense, that could work, he's kind of the guy. And with that deal that Columbus made a couple days ago, I wonder if that's in preparation because maybe they're getting ready to move on from him, and Edmonton seems like the logical place.
Yeah, Merzlikins with 2 years left of $5.4 million in cap. All right. Those are guys with contracts, but there's two in particular that won't be at training camp. Both of them are extremely talented young players. They're both top 4 picks from the 2021 draft. Mason McTavish and Luke Hughes. Why aren't they signed? That conversation next. You're listening to Locked On NHL, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel. It allows me to bet however I like, whether it's on player props, building a same-game parlay, jumping in on some live bet action, futures. You know I love a good futures play. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your favorite team or keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add a little bit more energy to those Sundays. So you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Welcome back, Locked On NHL, your team every day. Training camps are opening, but Mason McTavish and Luke Hughes will not be there. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. What do you think could be the holdup in these two situations?
Money, contracts.
I know, but
Just
like
a theory.
Especially the Ducks, like they've got $1 bajillion in cap space.
Yeah, I don't know. That one is confusing. Like that one truly
$20 million in cap space.
And he's like part of their core going forward. Like he's part of the core that they need to get in place. Last year, had a career year, 22 goals, 52 points, and going into a very pivotal fourth season. They're hoping that, he can kind of, a new coach too. They got a new coach. So you think that, all right, we're implementing new systems, let's have everyone here day one. No, not the case for Mason McTavish and the Anaheim Ducks. I'm not sure what the hell the holdup is. Like, I don't know what I guess I would consider fair market value for McTavish. It seems like does he want long-term, short-term? Does he want to do the bridge deal? Like, it seems like everybody at this point at their ELC, if they look to be a top 6 player, they seem to be getting locked up long-term. So I don't know if maybe term is the sticking point here as opposed to AAV, because like you said, they have the cap space. So it's not as though they need to penny pinch here. Maybe they're just not, they're still battling out the term portion of this deal. I'm not quite sure.
Man, he wore a letter for them last year. Like at 21 years old, like, well, what are we doing here? He should be a part of the solution in Anaheim. He's a hell of a player. I've always been a huge fan of his. And I mean, on bad teams, he's been productive in all 3 of his seasons outside of obviously the 9-game sample before he got sent back to junior a few years ago. Or he may have been one of those weird AHL, NHL guys, if I'm not mistaken. Or did he go back? No, he went back to junior the year after, and he was unreal with the Brantford Bulldogs. But that aside, since he's been in the NHL, he's been a 40 to then last year 52-point player. I don't see the holdup. Like if he got signed by 8x8, is that too much for Mason McTavish? I don't think so.
See, that's the interesting thing. I think you could argue that he could become an $8 million player. I don't know if he's there yet, though.
No, but you're doing it on projection for a guy who's 22.
No, I know, but I mean, plays down the middle, 2-way game, heavy guy. You project him to be probably like a second line center.
Like a 30-30 guy.
Yeah. Second line center type of guy. Is that worth $8 million?
By the time that with the cap the way it is in 2 years, it certainly will. And like you said, they couldn't care less about the cap hit for this year. They can fit 5 Mason McTavishes
Yeah,
under him.
it's true. This is true. This is true. It's interesting though because I look at what Pat Verbeek has done as the GM of this club since taking over, and the players that he's moved out, all those young guys that Anaheim had kind of stockpiled, and he's moved on from them, right?
Yeah,
Jamie Drysdale,
Drysdale,
Trevor
Zegras.
Zegras, and now you've got Mason McTavish.
So McTavish is going to go to Philly in a couple of years, which would actually be a great fit. And then what? JT Miller, when he's 40, is going to go to the Ducks because they went and got Trouba. They went and got Kreider.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe Mika first.
Maybe bring in Mika instead of a JT Miller. Yeah, by the way, JT Miller, captain of the Rangers.
Wow.
That was interesting. Did not expect that one.
Me neither.
8 times 8, I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out to be 8 times 8, I guess. But a lot of these deals I look at and I'm like, that seems like a big gamble. This would be another one of those, I suppose. But it wouldn't shock me, I guess, if I saw that number come through. I'd be more comfortable at like 7, I guess, 7.5 maybe, but 8 isn't too far off from there. So yeah, if that's what their sticking point is, $500,000, get him to camp. Just get him to camp. Bend the knee, make it happen. So let's get McTavish into Anaheim.
Yeah, the new coach in particular is a great point. And Joel Quenneville is going to have to rely on him, and for him to not be there day one, he's going to hop on the treadmill. It's going to be going 100 miles an hour. It just seems to me like mismanagement that they haven't been able to come to terms throughout the summer. A little bit different in New Jersey. They only have $6.1 million in cap space, according to Puckpedia. But when you look at the back end, like Luke Hughes is their top left defenseman. Brendan Dillon and Jonas Siegenthaler are their other left shot defensemen. Like, I would imagine the expectation is that he's going to start on the top pair with Dougie Hamilton. But again, get this guy to camp. Let's go.
I know. I'm not quite sure.
Can't get Quinn Hughes until you get Luke.
That's right. I mean, hey, Vancouver fans should be salivating. It's like, oh, you got a problem with Luke Hughes? Does Luke not want to sign? You want to
poke around that?
What's the deal here? I think we could probably figure something out.
What'd you call him last week? Jimmy Deals?
Oh, Trader Jim.
Trader Jim.
Yeah, Trader Jim.
Rutherford.
Yeah, Trader Jimmy Rutherford should be poking around, being like, hey, what's going on over there? You can't get anything done? Could I interest you in this package potentially? Maybe.
Yep.
Could be part of it. Like Jonathan Lekaramaki, and
that would be an unreal start to the NHL season if all of a sudden the Hughes balance shifts to Vancouver.
It would be. Well, what's their right side look like in New Jersey?
New Jersey, their right side is Dougie Hamilton is their top one. Then they've got Jonathan Kovacevic, who they just signed to a 5-year by $4 million contract.
Yeah, but then he got called out by his coach.
Simon Nemec or Simon.
Got called out by his coach.
Yeah, that was tough. I think he should just play.
Yeah, I think Kovacevic should just play hockey. It would be nice if he just played hockey. Oof. Tough. Oh, they got Brett Pesce there too. Actually, Pesce's sitting there in the.
Dude, how about Jake Allen at 35 years old getting a 5-year deal this summer?
Yeah, that's
how thin the UFA goalie market was. Only Jake Allen and Anton Forsberg had above 900 save percentages of every goalie that was free agent.
Well, maybe that's why Spencer Knight's getting paid $5.83 million.
Well, no, but you know what else that is? That's exactly what we're talking about with Anaheim. Chicago has so much cap space. Who cares?
Yeah, but it's dumb. Like you look at that, you're like, I don't know. Like I wouldn't want to be setting that precedent early where it's like, yeah, we got so much cap space, we'll just give it away.
Yeah, I guess.
Like you could use that to weaponize your cap space, and you could use that to bring on bad contracts and get assets. Like,
I'm just still mad at Chicago.
Cap space. It's a commodity.
I'm so mad at Chicago for passing on Demidov. Every time I see Demidov, I know it was a rookie tournament. He's doing all these fancy moves. I was like, imagine Bedard was on the other end of that. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got no faith in the Blackhawks. And then someone's like, hey, what if he said he wouldn't play for Chicago? That would be a first. Yeah, I'm actually not going to go to one of the biggest markets in one of the best cities, play for an original 6 team. I'm good. And know that you're going to be the running mate for Connor Bedard, first overall pick from the year before. Like, I just don't buy it.
Yeah, probably not. Probably did not happen. He came over early, if I do recall. Like, he was supposed to, like, I think he's supposed to come over next season, not even this season.
Yeah.
I think next year was when he was supposed to come over.
Yeah.
And he found his way here. Demidov did. I think he's currently the massive favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Might as well just give it to him because it seems that likely.
Is he
FanDuel's got him
minus money?
not quite minus
Almost?
money, but like next best is like plus 1,300.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's Zeev Bume of the Minnesota Wild.
Zeev.
Yeah. So
Who else? What's the top 5?
I can tell you in a sec. I just remember I was looking at it the other day.
Yeah, I got the awards up right now. FanDuel, super easy to use their app. Go to FanDuel.com, check that out. Connor McDavid plus 200 to win MVP, by the way. The two guys we spoke about are going last year their deal. McDavid's number 1 and Kaprizov is number 5 for MVP odds going into
Matthews
this season. Matthews is at number 6.
Yeah,
tied with Connor Hellebuck with the reigning Vezina and MVP winner.
I find that there's a really easy narrative for maybe it's something we can talk about next week, but I think there's an easy narrative for Austin Matthews to be a MVP candidate by the end of the year if he can have some success this season with Marner gone. But we can have that discussion at a later date if we'd like. Who's the top 5 for Calder?
Demidov plus 190. Boyum plus 1,300, Alexander Nikishin plus 1,600, Michael Misa and Jimmy Snuggerud and Isaac Howard and Matthew Schaefer are all plus 1,600 as well. And if you want a long shot, Zane Parekh at plus 2,500, especially if they do end up moving Rasmus Anderson throughout the season. He's going to get the most minutes, I think. Demidov. Like he's going to have the opportunity to be that guy.
So, quick funny story about Zane Parekh. The other day, I was just going through my phone. You ever just start scrolling through your phone and looking at old videos and pictures and stuff from back in the heyday? So I was taking a peek and I found pictures that I had taken on my phone of some rosters. I was doing play-by-play for literally some minor league hockey. It was 10-year-olds, 9, 10, 8-year-old kids doing some tournaments and looking at some of the rosters. Funny enough, on one of the rosters, Zane Parekh name popped up.
Wow.
Yeah, Zane Parekh was at that tournament. Same with LJ Mooney of the Montreal Canadiens. He was drafted this year, 4th round pick, was also at that tournament. It's interesting because then a few years later, I was doing play-by-play in Minnesota, big summer showcase that they have there every year. And a lot of the kids who've been drafted from this year's draft and next year's draft, because I did it for 2 years. A lot of those kids were at that tournament, including Gavin McKenna, Ryan Rubrick. So a lot of the top players in this year's draft were there. Last year as well. I could run down a bunch of the dudes that were at those tournaments. Those were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That just reminded me because I was just literally yesterday looking at it, I watched Zane Parekh play when he was 8 years old. Called play-by-play. Didn't recall that. And now I do.
And you didn't know that he would be the 5th? No, he is the 10th best odds to win the Calder, tied with Ryan Leonard, Yaroslav Askarov, and Maxine Shabanov, who apparently is really impressing at Islanders camp. So
they were quite happy to get him overseas this year. They were pumping that as a pretty big addition. So he's kind of an under the radar because he's a bit of an older prospect, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's the Kaprizov effect.
Yeah.
And obviously that's high praise. But in terms of that 24-year-old rookie, I mean, he already has 117 points in his last 129 KHL games.
Well, I was Michael Bunting kind of got shafted out of a Calder for the exact same issue. He was 24 or whatever it was, 25 years old. And because he was that much older, for whatever reason, he wasn't deemed worthy enough. Meanwhile, that year, it's one of my favorite stats. I brought this stat up every moment I could. It was while I was doing Leafs lunch. So I was heavy into Leafs lore. He had a better 5-on-5 points per 60 than Connor McDavid that season. And he did not win rookie of the year. I'm telling you.
Really?
Better points per 60 at 5-on-5 than Connor McDavid. Didn't win Rookie of the Year. Like, how's that possible? Like, what are we doing here? It's a Mo Sider, who did have a great rookie season. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he did.
But, like, you put up a stat line like that. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I didn't realize Shabanov's 5'8".
Yeah, a little guy. He's a little guy.
Yeah, he's going to be 25 October 7th, right in time for the season.
Wow. Oh, wow. 25 when the season opens up. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
He might be worth a sprinkle as a long shot, though.
I'm going Zane correct. That's my long shot, and I might do a dollar on Matthew Savoy as well in case he gets the McDavid assignment. Plus,
I like Savoy because I've been listening. I listened to a couple of Stan Bowman interviews over the course of the last few weeks. He's brought up Savoy a lot as one of the players that they expect to fill the void of those who exited and left. He's brought up that name quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, things to think about until we reconvene next Wednesday. It'll be the day after Ascend's Leafs preseason game. They play on Sunday and then Tuesday. So we'll get to that and a whole lot more. This has been another edition of Locked On NHL podcast. That's Mike DiStefano. I'm Ross Levitan, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.